At this point, I really feel like the Clippers are just their own worst enemy, because the only thing that's really standing in their way of getting the championship is themselves. And when you look at the West, it's very tough, it's very tight, it's very condensed, but at the same time, the Clippers have all the necessary pieces to win it. And when you have Kawhi and PG, you have two of the best players in the league, well, definitely with Kawhi Leonard especially. And then, a lot of people might even think adding Russell Westbrook makes him even more dangerous if they really find some continuity with him and he could find a home and a place secure with the Clippers, on their roster. And when I say that, I'm not the one that's really big on Russell Westbrook, even though I've been a fan of his gameplay, watching him, throughout the years. He's been a very exciting player, very, very exciting to watch, very high motor, very intense, give you all he's got. But at the same time, he never gives you championships, and he doesn't give you the idea or the thought that he can remotely help you win a championship based upon, his NBA history playing in the league as long as he has, with all the superstar caliber players that he's played with. When I think about Kawhi Leonard is one of those players who likes to win, and he doesn't like excuses on top of that. He just loves to win, and that's it. And, this team is going to really have to gel and find a way to put it together. And I just really see it being a very condescending situation because, really, to me, as I said in my previous videos that you could check out, I just really feel like the vibe is off with this team, because when I look at some of the moves they made, I like the pieces that they acquired in Plumlee and Eric Gordon, and I do like Bones Highland, and Russ is a wild card, but we have to see how that really turns out. But that's hit or miss there. But regardless, they traded Reggie Jackson and they kept Marcus Morris. You see what I'm saying? That really kind of bothered me, because if you're going to trade Reggie Jackson, why not trade Marcus Morris or keep Reggie Jackson, which a lot of people think or thought, and trade Marcus Morris, which that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I really thought Marcus Morris would be the first one to go in the trade deadline, and they would keep Reggie Jackson because, even though it was a few years ago, Reggie Jackson did play phenomenal for them in a playoff series. In the playoffs, when, before Kawhi went down and everything, Reggie Jackson was a huge part of their success in the playoffs when they made to their first conference finals a couple seasons ago. And, playoffs is where it all happens, and playoffs is where you really make your name at. And the Morris twins, both of them are good, and I've always thought Marcus Morris was a tough guy. I always thought he was a decent player, but at times, I always thought that he was never the type of player, that shows up when you need him to, at least offensively. Now, defensively, I say a few years ago, I think he was pretty in tuned, in regards to his defense and everything. And he will knock down some big shots. Don't get me wrong. And he did, I think it was either him or his brother. I think he was with the Celtics, Marcus Morris, and I think that's the last time I really seen him play good, where I think the Celtics played Cleveland in the conference finals, and Cleveland with LeBron James, and don't go into the NBA finals after that. That's when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown was really young, and I think they had Kyrie Irving on the Celtics then. And that's really the last time I think I really saw Marcus Morris play at a decent level at that time. But regardless of that, whatever you think about Marcus Morris, he's still a decent player. He's not bad. He's definitely still can stretch the floor and shoot. But I just thought that if they were going to trade Reggie Jackson, why not get rid of Marcus Morris? Because, if you think Reggie Jackson was dead weight, then a lot of people believe Marcus Morris is dead weight. So, at times. So, why not let him go? You see what I'm saying? But that was just very confusing to me. And then on top of that, the Clippers send Reggie Jackson to the Denver Nuggets. Of all teams, you making Denver a lot better to me, if you ask me. So, I thought that was a mistake. And I really thought it was a huge mistake to let go of Luke Kennard also. You gave him to the Memphis Grizzlies. That makes them a lot better of a team than what they were, because now they got an extra shooter that they can count on, and the extra shooter that they have, and Luke Kennard is one of the top shooters in the NBA percentage wise, in which he was also for the Clippers. So, you got to kind of look at things like that, and I understand, trades have to be made and business decisions have to be made. I get all that. But at the same time, making the right decisions is really key, especially when you're trying to win championships. And acquiring Russell Westbrook on this team, I'm still not sure Kawhi Leonard is cool with it. I think he's going along with it because, he wants to try to be a team player. And if the team does a majority vote that they want Russ, and maybe he went with the majority vote, you know what I'm saying, and just left it at that. I don't know. But regardless, Russ is a wild card. And on top of that, you know, at times on the court when he plays, there's a lot of unpredictability there. And it's hard to really get a flow and a rhythm with Russ because of his unpredictability at times on the court. Sometimes he'll make some splash plays, then time he'll make boneheaded plays. So it's like you really kind of don't know what you're getting out of Russ in regards to that only. But my thing is, even still, on top of that, with Russ being on the team, I just feel like it throws the vibe off a little bit. I like Terrence Mann as the point guard, the way they were playing. I like the way Terrence Mann was playing. I like Terrence Mann energy. I really like Terrence Mann just overall. And you know what I'm saying? His energy and what he brings to this team, I don't really think they should deny him. And I think, you know, cutting some of his minutes back, you're not going to get the same Terrence Mann that you got when he was in the starting lineup and he was starting to really figure out his rhythm and play with Kawhi and PG. And I actually thought he was playing really good with them. So now his minutes and his time is going to regress. And now you're putting Russ in there to be himself and go out there and be the starting point guard for a team that's trying to win a championship, when Russ has never been known to be a starting point guard for any championship team and that's actually won it. So you're asking a wild card type player to come in there and be something that he couldn't be for the team down the hallway in the Los Angeles Lakers. And you asked him to be on this team, which is looked at as a championship caliber roster, championship caliber team, to take it all the way the distance this year. You're asking Russ to come in there and be exactly what you need and regress some of your other players who was really getting a rhythm and really getting acclimated to being in their position and doing what they need to do to help this team get better. Because honestly, between Terrence Mann and Bones Highland, both of them can bring the ball up the court. Both of them can find Kawhi and PG. It's not hard to pass the ball to Kawhi and PG. They're great players. They're exceptional players. I mean, if you ask me to take the ball down the court and run down the court and Kawhi's in isolation and his hand is up and he's got one-on-one coverage, you know, with a defender that he can definitely cook, which is 99% of the players in the league, because nobody really can guard Kawhi Leonard. He's just one of those players that's really good at what he does, along with PG. It's not really hard to get them the ball. You don't really need a dynamic point guard to do that. You just need somebody who can handle the ball, that gives you a less turnover rate and gives you a better chance to, you know, put up more shots rather than turn the ball over to the opposing team. And I feel like Bones Highland, you're regressing with him because you traded for him to get him on this team, and now his minutes are gonna suffer because of Russ, along with Terrence Mann. And the last couple games that I've saw, you know, I just don't see the same energy with Terrence Mann, and I really don't. I mean, I just feel like he got 22 minutes the other night in the game they played, I think, but still, it's like mentally, I don't know, his impact is different. And like I said, I'm not blaming nothing on Russell Westbrook because he hasn't really played bad for the Clippers or anything like that. He's had a few turnovers, you know, but that's just Russ. Russ is going to be Russ, right? But regardless, bringing Russ on the team was just extra to me. And I don't really think the Clippers needed that, you know what I'm saying? Because if T-Man was doing good, figuring out his stride, you had Bones Highland, who's a blur, who can get to the rim anytime he want to. And, you know, he came to the Clippers thinking he would get more minutes rather than what he got with, the Denver Nuggets. Why'd you trade for him then? If you're going to have him sit there on the bench and just be a part of this team and watch Russ go out there and possibly make boneheaded plays and make mistakes and, you know, not get this team in position to win. And like I said, it's not Russ's fault. He hasn't played bad since he's been with the Clippers these 3 games, but they are 0-3. And that should tell you something, because the vibe around the team is different. I don't see Kawhi Leonard. Like I said, the best player on the team, Kawhi Leonard, doesn't look right to me. And you heard me say that in my previous video. I just don't think Kawhi Leonard looks right. I just don't think the team looks right. And I know everybody's going to sit there and say, oh, they just need to build some chemistry. But we need to stop this notion of chemistry. Yeah, of course, we know they need to build chemistry. I say it all the time, but we can't keep saying it with 20 games left in the season and they haven't built the chemistry, and they keep adding these extra pieces, or they're adding an extra piece like Russell Westbrook, and is, you know, regressing the other young talent that they have that can really actually put them over the hump. Because honestly, like I said, between Terrence Mann And Bones Highland, I think that's really all the point guard they need. I mean, maybe, and even Eric Gordon can handle the point every now and then, get the ball to Kawhi and them and knock down big shots at times. So, I mean, really, they have all they need. They didn't even really need Russell Westbrook. It was just an extra, piece coming in there that's really taking away from the minutes and the development from the other players that they really need to develop as a team, as a unit, because Terrence Mann has been there these several years. Terrence Mann has been there with Kawhi and PG. He's learned from these guys. He's played with them. He's practiced with them. He's hung out with them probably after games and stuff like that. And these are things you got to think about as a team, as an organization. And this is the reason why I said the Clippers organization, they make stupid mistakes sometimes. Like I said, I would have never got rid of Reggie Jackson and didn't get rid of Marcus Morris. The only reason why Reggie Jackson probably regressed the way he did was because you brought in John Wall, another extra tight piece that I said back then, that you heard my videos back then, I didn't really think it was going to work. And look, John Wall didn't even last the whole season with the team. And now John Wall might actually be out the league soon. Hopefully not, but it's very possible. And that's my point. You're bringing in extra pieces that you really don't need. Go out and really find the piece that you need. Go out and find a solidified piece if that's what you want to do, but don't bring in extra pieces as a wild card and try to make it work and, keep the Clippers fans on edge trying to figure out whether this is going to work out or not and make it look like it's an up and down Jekyll and Hyde situation. And then in the end, when you don't win a championship, you have nothing but excuses for your fans and everybody else. Now, the media is going to blame Kawhi Leonard because he's the best player. They're going to blame Paul George, but they don't have nothing to really do with the front office because they can make suggestions. The front office has to make the final call. So, I mean, when you look at it from that standpoint, the Clippers organization just isn't doing right. And when you think about Steve Ballmer with all the money that he has, you would think all the money that he's got, he has the right people around him making the best decisions for this team. And like I said, I just don't know if Russell Westbrook is the right decision because you're regressing your younger players who really should be getting more playing time and who's really you're regressing their development as a player. And like I said, what I was seeing from T-Man, I was really liking that. I really was. And I like the chemistry he's got with Kawhi and PG. I mean, they were playing really good with a nice flow. Now you bring Russ in there. Now you're probably not going to get the same energy from Terrence Mann. You got rid of Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson regressed, I thought, because you brought in John Wall and he was fighting for his point guard position, which he never should have had to because John Wall is washed. John Wall is really not who he was. And he think this is 2015 when he was on the Wizards or whatever the case may be, but he's not that John Wall no more. So they muffed on that one. And now you got rid of Reggie Jackson. Now you lost Luke Kennard, arguably one of, if not the best top percentage-wise three-point shooter in the league, or at least he was, and he was a big part of the culture as well. You lost him. And you got players like, Robert Covington on the bench, who I think is a really good defender, not getting the minutes he's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Clippers are just all around the world. There's no consistency with the team. So when you think about things like that, if there's no consistency with the front office and what their decision making is, and there's no consistency with the coaching of who their starting lineups are going to be and how they're going to attack people and what their approach is every game, it's going to be very hard to really look at this team like, oh, they're just going to get chemistry all of a sudden. There's no chemistry in the front office look like. There's no chemistry with Ty Lue, the coaching. So how are the players really going to build this chemistry when there's no chemistry type atmosphere around them? So, these are things you got to think about as a Clippers fan and as a fan of basketball looking at this team. Like, a lot of people have high expectations for this team, but if you're regressing some of your players that are developing the way they're supposed to and the way they were playing, I mean, it's really hurtful. And like I said, a lot of people may think Marcus Morris is dead weight on that team, dead weight on that roster because he has good games. Of course, he can, knock down big shots and things like that. But the problem with him is the playoffs. A lot of times we don't get the Marcus Morris in the regular season that we're supposed to get in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. And the last time they were in the playoffs, who was the third guy that came out and actually really supported Kawhi and PG and backed them up to get them over that series in the Dallas Mavericks and got them to the conference finals until Kawhi got hurt? It was Reggie Jackson, the unsung hero that nobody thought that would actually be the third guy because everybody thought Marcus Morris was the third guy. He damn sure getting paid like it, but he never really actually performed up to that as of yet in the playoffs. So my point is, the Clippers got to just make better decisions as an organization. But I say this much. If they muff on this situation, this team might be broken up this offseason. And it really might look a lot different going into next season. So if it doesn't result in a championship with Russ and all these interchangeable pieces and all these experimental ideas Ty Lue is doing and all this dumb stuff, well, I mean, you might lose Kawhi and you might lose PG. So, I mean, they better really make sure this is the right decision with Russ. They better make sure this team builds that chemistry in 20 plus games, which I think is damn nearly impossible to do. But hey, you never know what happens, and we just have to see and just kind of go with that. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section. Also, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't. And hey, till next time.